Okay. Great. Uh-huh. Nafasat received the rights? Okay, great. Great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So welcome everyone to the Freshman Getting in Serious, episode 6, where we're gonna be dissecting successful admissions case of Ruslan Kan, who got into one of the most innovative and selective universities on our planet, Minerva University. Ruslan Kan is um, challenged everything you think you know about college admissions. He started preparing in late February 2025, not early. He came from a regular public school in Uzbekistan. His US visa was rejected twice. He got deferred from universities with 90% acceptance rates, yet he was accepted to Minerva, one of the world's most selective universities. Before admissions prep, Ruslan had already become world grand champion in mental arithmetic and earned 20 plus international math Olympiad medals. During those 7 months, he published research in Q2 Journal on AI and FinTech, founded Olma, a peer learning platform with 30 to 40 active users, won World Scholars Cup and qualified for Yale finals, and worked at Precede AI, a US startup. Now he's lead software developer for Saman AI Academy, where he developed Saman rankings and is building a CRM LMS model, currently participating in an accelerator by the European Commission, aiming to secure up to 50,000 K euro in equity-free investments. He serves as elected academic council leader representing 900 plus students. Today, at the event, we're going to dive into these amazing extracurricular experiences, the mindset and vision and skills it took to build them in the 7th month period. We're also going to discuss the metacognitive skills that helped him to kick that off, including time management, decision making, and problem solving. However, now there are based um, there are a couple of people who might not know much about Minerva University. I'm taking this from our group chat, event group chat, right? So let's discuss, Ruslan. Can you share with us what makes Minerva the most innovative university in the world, right? How do they approach education compared to more traditional universities that are, that have a lot of traditional physical spaces.
Well, if we take comparison between the traditional education and education system in Minerva, first things first, all the lectures and all the lessons are made only in online format. What I
Mhm,
mean here, basically, they hire a lot of professors from Harvard University, Yale University, Yale College, many much more like Ivy League colleges, U Chicago Rice, and others. They hired professors from there, and thus it was developed only back in 2011. It is relatively new, and the concept of online learning back in that time, when it was there, when there was no COVID, actually, it was crazy.
mhm. Yeah.
That was the first thing that made it innovational.
Mhm,
Second thing, it is
mhm,
the actual transformation of cultures. What I mean here, when you get into Minerva, when it was first opened and up to 2024, I guess, you would travel to 7 cities, 7 different cities around the world. So the cultural immersion is absolutely crazy.
mhm,
You get the opportunity to visit a lot of cities. And that is the main reason why there is no campuses actually.
mhm,
There are mainly only dorms where usually students stay. And
mhm.
third thing, it is a non-traditional education. What do
Yeah.
I mean here? Um, well, if we take lectures from Harvard University, and the program in Harvard University is actually passive learning. Even if you do not attend any classes at Harvard or anywhere else, you at the end, when there's an examination, you might get a nice score and still pass the exam.
Mhm,
Here in Minerva University, it is impossible. There is a method of active learning. So every time you attend an online session with your professor, there's always something new, always.
Mhm.
And typically, uh, as it is typically in Minerva, if you skip 2 or 3 classes in a month, you would probably fail on your exam.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the
Okay.
exams there are a little bit special. What do I mean here? Well, the exams are made on the habits of mind. It's the structure of education. Habits of mind are habits made on this education by Ben Nelson. He's the creator of the Minerva University, and these are the approaches that you can use in anywhere of your field, like in your personal experience, in your career experience,
Mhm.
anywhere.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this is the main branch of education in Minerva.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, what I noted is world as a campus. Second, the nature of learning is very different if compared to traditional universities, even if top. And the second one, again, about the learning, they have a specific focus on what they call habits of mind. First, I would like to speak about the world as a campus, right? So, um, usually, when we speak about universities, they have a physical campus and you live for 4 years, right? In a close-knit community, maybe large, but again, more or less you interact with quite, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to say set, um, how can I say, like, not standard community, but it doesn't much change from year to year. I mean, there are new people coming in, but your class and your peers are kind of same, right? You might travel abroad, but it's not as um, culturally immersive as it could be, right? Even if there are a lot of people from many different countries, the way you experience it usually is A, in English. B, it's still embedded in, if we take US universities, in American culture, right? And I don't know, American vision for higher education. But if we take Minerva University, right? The way I remember I read what Bell Nelson wrote, I think in 2019. Um, he believed that the way higher education works, it must be to educate the citizens of the world. How can you educate them if they don't know what the world is like, right? Like how people, um, the kind of lived realities of people, right, from different regions. Um, yeah, but still another question. If there's no physical campus, right, they must have some physical campus in these different cities, right? How does it look like? Does it look anything like a university, or it's mostly um, like a standard living situation, but you also have educational experience?
Well, if we talk about the appearance of where you stay in when you're traveling abroad in like in 4 different cities and 4 different countries right now in the actual program,
Mhm.
well, it is nothing like a typical university.
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
mainly looks like a dorm, to be honest. It looks like
Okay.
a nice, great hotel
Okay.
where you can stay in. And in this hotel, I mean, right now in San Francisco, there's a new hotel, I mean, dormitory,
Mhm.
where there's all the necessities like gym, a pool, uh, you share bed, you share like your room with only one person more, so there's only 2 persons, and the territory, to be honest, is quite small.
Mhm.
But in
Mhm.
every city that you live during your education, you
Mhm.
live in the center. You live in
Mhm.
the center of the city. So you
Mhm.
get as much opportunities to take your online classes anywhere you want. So you
Mhm.
may go to the cafe, you may go to the any event, and during this you may also attend the classroom. But it is preferably still to have a nice connection because if you don't, if you don't attend your class like for the first 10 minutes, if you don't enter it, then in the system, it is counted as you skip the class, even though you may enter it after like 15
Mhm.
minutes.
Okay.
But it's just how it works.
Okay. Okay. So again, it looks like a usual dorm, but you take classes from anywhere in the city, wherever you want to take it from. Okay. Yeah, the second question regarding the difference between passive learning and the method of active learning. You said there are a lot of new things happening in classes, which I think is true for many of the course offerings at Ivies or I don't know at other liberal arts colleges, right? What can you share about how their method of active learning is shaped Minerva specific, if you know anything about that?
Well, actually, to be honest, I tried only once.
Mhm.
They offered like one trial class
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
the Minerva University. There was a professor from MIT, and the actual difference between them, I think that in your class, when you try out, when you get to learn something, first of all, you should always be prepared from your homework. There's even a homework for a trial
Yeah.
class. I was also shocked.
Mhm.
Then. On the lesson, you first things first repeat your homework. It's just like a nice context during your conversation. And if you don't know the context, you would probably not understand like 90% of the class.
Mhm.
And during the class, you get to you get to understand a lot more information. There's like a big variety of different branches of information that they
Mhm.
give.
Okay.
And at the end of the class, there's always a practical exercise, online practical exercise, where you typically manage the exercise in the groups.
Okay.
So the group in Minerva, the education in Minerva is always made in group. One group is approximately 20 people. It is
Okay.
the quantity of people with whom you will study always. Like if you chose your major, you will study with them. Exactly. There's only 20 people in your class, and typically, if professor calls someone's name, you know who it is.
Mhm.
And the exercises themselves, you divide typically into groups of two or three or individually,
Mhm.
and complete the exercises and get the real feedback live.
Mhm.
At the moment, you get the real feedback of each exercise. You get the real
Okay.
feedback of each opinion.
Mhm.
In the typical classes of Ivy League, there is not a big chance that throughout your peers,
Mhm.
the chosen one to answer would be you.
Okay. So what
But there
happened?
is,
Apologies. Go on.
uh, but here in Minerva,
Mhm.
there's a great opportunity as there is so little quantity of people.
Okay. Okay, so what happens in class at the end of the class is that each of the students gets feedback on the work that they've done, on how they use the information they're learning, right? Something like that. Okay, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
typically though.
Yeah, which is amazing. And another question about the habits of mind. Is it the kind of class that you take, or the kind of learning architecture or teaching approach that's used in each class that
It is the
facilitates this active
architecture.
learning? Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is the architecture of learning.
Oh,
Habits of
okay.
mind are actually there are like four parts of habits of mind.
Mhm.
Every
Okay.
part has like lots of branches, 20 or more branches, and every branch is a chapter. It's a
Okay.
chapter that should go during your classes.
Okay. Okay. I
And
see.
then like when you go on with like from first year to
Yeah.
fourth year, when you go on, you learn how to integrate a lot of branches
Mm.
to solve complex problems.
Okay, across disciplines, right? Okay.
Right.
So overall, the way that works is that, hey, you do the homework when you enter the class. What the professor or teacher, right, tries to do is first to kind of bring up the context as efficiently as possible, and then start connecting the new information to that context. And they ensure that for the whole class that happened successful, right? By asking questions, but like everyone is on the same page. Now we're learning new. How are we connecting this? And I assume that there's a lot of, not much professor talking. I wouldn't say not much professor talking. They do talk a lot, but they also ask a lot of questions to help you link information, right? Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's many a lot of things that they ask during the
Okay.
conversation.
Okay.
They may ask you in a random moment whenever they want.
Okay. Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Let's discuss a little more in detail regarding the habits of mind, right? So that we would understand what it actually is. Could you name maybe the different branches approximately, right? Because again, this is the way they govern the educational process there, right? And if they have admissions. They have admissions, which must be aligned with how they expect that educational process to go on, right? To happen.
If we divide them into, all right, there are four main parts in the
Okay.
habits of minds,
Mm-hmm.
and they're named mainly interacting effectively,
Mm-hmm.
thinking effectively,
Mm-hmm.
communicating effectively, and the
Okay.
fourth, I don't really remember the fourth to be honest. But after that, every part of that round of four parts
Mm-hmm.
is divided into a lot of more.
Mm-hmm.
Like
See.
well, speak fluently. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it is one of the it's one
Mm.
of the first parts.
Okay.
Then speak confidently. It is two different things that they learn during, and it is more on a personal level, on the for
Okay.
the interviews and others. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, you get to learn. If you talk about thinking effectively, they're broadened into a lot of categories, and many categories are based on your major.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to learn about your major during this and
Okay.
during your education. That's the
Mhm.
thing.
So also as part of the habits of mind, there's some specification that's developed for your major, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Okay. So now let's get into Minerva's admissions process, right? So it has parts. There is the part one that focuses on biographical and academic information about you. That's also the part where you, I assume, mention your accomplishments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the second one, which is called Minerva Challenges, that test your reasoning, creativity, and communication skills. It has two parts. It basically is held like a test, but not the usual test, because they don't measure the correctness of your answers, but rather they focus more on the creative risks, on the approach, on the nature of your thinking, right? Um, at least that's what I learned from their website, right? Yeah, so it has two parts. The first one that focuses on math, reasoning, comprehension, and thinking, specifically divergent thinking, which is ability to come up with nonlinear solutions, right? And the second one focuses on written and verbal communication tasks. Yeah, so now how is Minerva challenges different from the SAT or the IELTS? How much different
Well,
are they?
if we talk about outs, it is
Yeah,
nothing like
I'd
outs.
say in terms of like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, like, we have IELTS and SAT. SAT shows how well you're able to reason, right? How well prepared you are for liberal arts education, mostly. And IELTS basically shows your communication ability, right? So if we use these as alternative to Minerva challenges, right? How different they are in terms of preparation, in terms of how what kind of thinking they require.
Well, they're super different. There
Okay.
is no if the SAT tests your thinking, your logical reasoning, your critical thinking, there's well, there's super another type of tests. What do I
Mhm.
mean here? Math is approximately equal to the SAT. To be honest, there's
Okay.
one section of math which is approximately equal to the level of SAT.
Okay.
When we talk about English, English is nothing like IELTS or SAT. It is mainly other type of exercises that also, I would say, not really evidence-based reading and writing, but
Mhm.
they test your skills in reading and comprehension of the text.
Mhm.
It's not like IELTS, but it may work, and the goal of it is in a similar way. But to test your actual logical reasoning, they have a whole test of IQ. What do I mean? What do I mean here? Uh, there's a lot of patterns. There's like 9 pictures with a lot
Okay.
of patterns which you should recognize,
Mhm.
and you should choose like the next part of the pattern. At the
Hmm.
first, it's super easy. But then when it comes to the like 15th or 16th, up to 20, there's like only 20 questions up to that chapter. And when it comes to this part, it's, I mean, it's hell. It's absolute hell.
Mhm.
Even me, who is like really used to understand all the patterns with all of my mathematical
Yeah.
experience, I could not actually recognize
Mhm.
what is the pattern, how does it work, and that's what they test. How do you think under critical moments? So
Mm-hmm.
can you correlate your logical thinking under small period of time? It may seem like SAT as the same way they test your critical thinking, but it's not. It's way harder. And other parts are mainly writing. Well, it's super easy. It may seem like an IELTS, but it's not the type of essays that you write. These are a little bit more moral essays. What do you see yourself in 15 years? Or what happens if you do not get accepted into Minerva University? Or the third question that I remember for myself, well, it was, what is your purpose of life? Who do you
Mm-hmm.
want to be?
Okay.
It is harder, and you get only 5 minutes to write. Like there's no limit in words, and you get only 5 minutes to think.
All
It's
right.
hard.
So,
Then
uh-huh.
then there's like two more chapters, but they're much easier. And
Mhm.
one of them is moral questions. Moral questions are crazy.
Okay, so let me sum up, right? When we speak about Minerva challenges, the two that they have, first focusing on math and reasoning and thinking, the second focusing on written and verbal communication. The math part is almost alike to SAT, right? However, there are also the tasks that require like rigorous advanced pattern recognition, which you cannot prepare for if you do SAT prep. How can you prep for these activities? Like, not test wise, but like maybe how should you approach learning in order to be able to succeed through that testing, in that testing?
Um, well, uh, the way you should approach, in my point of view,
Mm-hmm.
is try to align a lot of information with each other. What I
Mm-hmm.
mean here, if you read any books, try to see not the pattern, but approximately branches or connections that they are correlated with each other. It's
Okay.
hard. I know it's hard.
Okay.
And typically, firstly, it's super easy to understand. Oh, it's like there's a black one, there's a black one, so the next one will be also black. But
Mm-hmm.
when there's like 9 or 10 blacks in one row, then 12 blacks in another row, and you should understand how does it work, why there's 10, why there's 12, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the pattern goes in the, I mean, geometrical progression. It's way
Yeah.
harder.
Okay.
So what do I do? What would I do here is try to not really solve, but to see the patterns throughout your life. From my experience, what I did with the patterns, I have a lot of experience in mental arithmetic,
Mm-hmm.
and my main thing was that I solved all the I solved all the questions in under 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And to prepare for that, like numbers on any car,
Okay.
unique number.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see a car, every time I saw a car, add, uh, I try to add, multiply these numbers in my head.
Okay.
And there was like 2 or 3 years period of my life that I had this habit.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this habit uh, made me understand the major part of this exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
even and back at that time, it was actual pattern recognition. I understood the pattern of numbers. How do they work? If you multiply 9 times 9, at the end you always get one.
Oh, so it's more of like how something works and then how well you can kind of generalize that, right? In order to
Yeah.
predict what might happen, right? So pattern recognition is strongly related to how what to predictive thinking, right? Um, yeah, which is again, planning, decision making, building whatever you want to build, seeing how an industry will develop, right? If we speak like about what that grows into or like is translated into. Okay, great. So again, if you want to prepare for pattern recognition exercises, learn to see patterns, but I think we discussed it at a pretty general level, right? I'd say mathematics can help a lot, but not just solving problems, rather the kind of mindset that you approach mathematics with, right? seeing like, for example, I mean, I'm not really good at math in order to come up with some was a better example to deliver the idea. Um, okay, like how can it be? Like, I don't know, maybe trying to see the patterns in how the nature of revolutions, for example, right? And then like in history. And then you, I don't know, take some unrelated topic and try to compare the processes, right? And come up with most generalized, uh,
Most
like,
generalized answer. It's
yeah, yeah,
typically how AI works. You
yeah.
know, like when you get one database, you get second database,
Okay.
and based on these databases, you try to
Mhm.
answer the most approximate level.
Okay. Okay. I think like we would need to look for some extra resources to share in pattern recognition. Now, speaking of the written verbal communication tasks, again, the questions there do not test your English. They mostly ask you big questions that determine where you'll be in 5, 10 years, right? Kind of they test how well you know yourself. Do you know where you're going? And how well you're able to construct and govern
During
your life, right? So the good thing to do before you go into writing it is to um, reflect a lot, produce a lot of writing, right? In order to have these answers ready, right? Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. What else? Minerva challenges. Pattern recognition. So mind. Um, yeah. Okay. I think when it comes to Minerva challenges, we discussed quite enough. I think there was like a different part of the written verbal communication task that you wanted to discuss. No?
yes, it was actually not a written verbal
Uh,
communication. It was about the moral questions that they
oh,
ask you during
yeah.
your interview.
In the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's
Uh,
discuss that.
well, Minerva University is a university that has both test interview and additional round of interview when there's already in person. For
Okay.
my for my luck, I somehow managed to get into the Minerva University without additional interview round.
Mm-hmm.
So the only questions I got was exactly in this test. This
Mm-hmm.
test, the first question is absolutely easy. It's mainly related to your professional field.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a question about your major. Do you really understand how it works?
Mm-hmm.
For example, for me, it was how can you explain the cycle for in programming in simple words? It
Mm-hmm.
is super easy questions. But the second question is very deeper. What do I mean here? Well, let me ask you a question that one of my friends got. When there is two people hanging off the cliff and you can rescue only one, on the one side you have your man, on the other side you have your boyfriend. I mean, for you. All right. On the one side you have your man, on the other side you have your boyfriend. Who would you choose and why?
Okay.
And that's the question you have like time for preparing. You have only 30 seconds, and you have to talk about like 1 or 2 minutes.
Like are they try I think they're trying to see how you like your yeah, your moral judgment, your values, what governs your decision making under pressure, right?
Yeah,
Under
they,
constraint.
they're testing your critical thinking. They're testing your moral syntaxis of like understanding the world. In my
Okay.
case, that was the question. Well, imagine the situation. You have two friends when you're already in college. One friend gets cyberbullied a lot
Mm-hmm.
in the Instagram channel, in the Instagram group of Minerva.
Mm-hmm.
Other friend strongly insists on him to ask like the Minerva government to manage this question.
Mm-hmm.
This friend who gets cyberbullied doesn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
You are a third friend in this group. What do you do and why do you do it?
Wow. Okay. I see. So again, what at which level do they expect you to perform in this question? Or like does it mostly reflect like the quality of your, but by the quality of your thinking, it's like not like the quality of your think, the quality of your character, or do they also like do they look more into the quality of your thinking, like ethical judgment? And how can you best
Uh,
prepare to, to shine there?
well, the thing is that you cannot prepare for this question.
Okay.
This question actually is based only on your personal character. I mean, like on the side of your character, and that is who the person you are. They want to
Uh-huh.
build the community of the future leaders with a strong moral foundation.
Yeah.
So they test how well your moral is on the what level you are. Can you understand? Can you be empathetic to each other? Can you understand the feelings of another person
Hmm.
and manage to handle the situation with with the solution which is most probably uh, would not offend any side. That's the thing that they want to see.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So it's like the peacekeepers, leaders who still rigorously innovate, right? But again, they keep this is okay, this is interesting. Um, yeah, I remember the kind of questions I got asked at university interviews in 2018. It was like, how do you spend your day? There were some questions related to my activities, but there were no questions related to, moral judgment. And those were the interviews for Tufts, for Brown, and for Brandeis. Okay. But I mean, like, I'm raising this because it's interesting because universities of those tier, they also aim to educate, um, leaders of tomorrow, right? The way Minerva does it is different, and it's visible in the kind of questions they ask, right? And in what they value there. Okay, great. So, guys, we have discussed right now what Minerva is like, how their admissions process looks like. We haven't gone into academic background of Ruslan and his accomplishments yet. We will in the next half of the event. However, right now, have you got any questions? If you have, we give you around a minute to either send them into the chat or unmute yourself and ask them. Amazing team. Okay. Oh, there was somebody speaking? No? Or I heard wrong. I heard wrong. Okay. If there are no more questions related to Minerva's admissions process, we can go into Ruslan's case, right? So, um, okay. Um, let's get into your extracurriculars, right? And how you approached building your application within the period of 7 months, right? You started doing it in the February of 2025, which was, I think, exactly a year ago, right?
Yes, it was even later. It was like 26th, 25th of February.
Okay, okay, okay. Almost a year ago. Great. So, how are you thinking? You were like, okay, I gotta get into world-renowned universities, right? I promised. I promised to a person. I really want to make them proud, right? My family member. Um, but I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have what? And basically, how were you thinking at that moment? How did your planning look like?
Well, I didn't have any information how to get into top universities in the
Uh-huh.
US. I didn't
Okay.
know the admission
Okay.
process. I didn't know
Okay.
anything. I just wanted to understand how the system works. I'm a I'm a systematic thinker. I always think in systems, but I didn't
Mhm.
understand what happens. I've got a lot of pieces of information from lots of my friends. Like some of my friends even that are there. They taught me not about the system, but the pieces of information that throughout my process, I somehow built the strategy.
Okay.
Well, connecting all these pieces of information from
Mhm.
one to another and trying to manage it out throughout your like 7 months period, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You not really, you don't really have the strategy. The big strategy that you're going forward on, since the moment that you want to apply for U.S. universities,
Yeah.
as you don't have typically any information. I
Yeah.
tried to like talk a lot with GPT, Gemini, other AIs, but still there are only pieces of information. To be honest, I couldn't understand.
Mhm.
So what I did here, I tried to get into the community, to get into the community where this question is quite manual, where everyone
Mhm.
wants to,
Mhm.
where everyone wants to. So there was one community that I got into. I would probably not share the name. I'm really
Okay.
sorry. Uh, there's one community that I got into. There's like lots of people who also want to educate in U.S. universities, in European universities, in Asian universities, and others,
Mhm.
where we discussed a lot and shared the ideas
Mhm.
on which we could work together.
Mhm.
It was the extracurriculum ideas, it was taking part in big Olympiads and others.
Mhm. 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 So overall, the process didn't look like, okay, I want to get into top universities. Okay, so there will be like a week. I'm gonna go and dig up as much information as possible, build a strategy, and then follow it throughout those 7 months. It was most like, I want to get there. I know very little. What is the next step? The best next step that I can do. I can do this. I do this. I get more feedback from the action, and then I have more ideas on what I can do, how I can do better. So it's more like about leveraging the momentum, right? And building the system and strategy in the moment, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
about more trying
by
to be adaptive.
yeah, by surrounding yourself with the right people, with the right information, having the kind of discussions that are aligned with where you're going, right? Yeah, and basically doing lots of research. Yep.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
mainly like that. It's mainly about adapting at the momentum where you are right now, what do you know right now, and what is the best steps that you can take.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Another portion of the question that I had, right? You made a decision, but you were like, I don't have. We spotted that you didn't know anything about the way admissions works, right? Which is a huge thing, right? Because admissions has its own how can I say logic, right? Which you need to understand. It's not just completing the requirements or like check boxes or like, yeah, I have 10 activities. I think, I mean, they have impact. There's like the cool, amazing numbers, strong verbs. It's not about that. There's so much more to it. But in regards to accomplishments and experiences or extracurriculars, right? What you didn't have and how did you make a decision about what you need to get and what you need to achieve within those 7 months window?
Well, about my, well, I had a lot of honors. I
Yeah.
had like an experience, a big mathematical Olympiads, and
Mhm.
arithmetic Olympiads. So I wasn't really bothered about honor section. The only
Mhm.
thing that I bothered the most was the extracurriculum activities. I'm studying in the typical school, in the public school.
Mhm.
There's no one who wants to get into the top university from the US. No
Mhm.
one, actually.
Mhm.
So no one knows what the activities should I do or should we
Yeah.
do and other.
Mhm.
Uh, so well, all I could is just try to understand what was the atmosphere in this community. When I got into this community, I saw that there's a lot of innovative guys who want to create their idea, who want to share their projects and others, and I just wanted to take as much information as I could.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
basically, what did I do back then is try to take part every in every opportunity that I have.
Okay. Okay.
There was like uh in a week there was like 4 or 5 new ideas. Some would be completed, others would not, but I would try to take as much opportunities as I had
Okay.
to be in every group.
Mhm.
And that's I guess the main thing that was what I did.
Mhm.
So I didn't really have a lot, but to the moment of the end, I had the research, I had my internship, I had my own passion project.
Mhm.
I took part in one more big Olympiad on the international level. Uh, I tutored a lot during the
Mhm,
process,
mhm,
helped a lot of people. I took my SAT, I took my IELTS. By the way, I knew about the IELTS, but I never knew about the SAT in the moment of February
mhm,
25th. So I also, it was my actually first time, I guess, when I was preparing for my SAT.
mhm.
So basically, it was just trying out a lot of things, and then in the end, when there was a moment for like completing the application in the Common App,
Yeah.
uh, it was just like searching the best out of the 100 activities that I did throughout this year.
Mhm, mhm. All right. So when it was Common App, right? In the Common App. Oh, wait a second. So when completing the accomplishments in Minerva for Minerva University, right? How many spots have you got there, right? 10, 2, or less, more? How does it look
Um,
like?
well, it looks approximately the same as
Uh-huh.
a common application,
Okay.
uh, but there you don't have like a real separation between honors and extracurriculum activities.
Uh-huh.
There's only a list of 10, and you should like, and I had to integrate some with
Mm-hmm.
each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to integrate like all my mathematical Olympiads into one, into one section of like international Olympiad winner, and just to name all the Olympiads that I took part in, and others, I guess it was approximately the same.
Okay, okay, okay. I see. A point about accomplishments for Minerva University, they explicitly state on their website that it's not about the regular means of success and what people consider an accomplishment, but it's more about what what accomplishment means for you. So like they give you the leadership to define what kind of what is achievement for you, right? And express it, which is also a different kind of lens to reflect under when you're building your application, right? Okay, okay. So again, how many have you written down there?
Uh, there's was a maximum quantity of 10, so I
Yeah.
put down all the 10.
Okay.
I mean, I had 15 different activities in the common
Mhm,
application. I mean, there was five in honors,
mhm,
five in extracurriculum activities, but somehow um, I must have managed all the integrations between the honors section and the extracurriculum section into one to manage it only in the list out of 10.
mhm,
So what they're mainly seeking in this list is like your leadership
mhm,
activities. They're seeking a lot,
mhm,
and they're seeking a real output
mhm.
after like your activity
Okay.
to show the impact mainly.
Mhm. All right. So when you were completing all of those activities, right, and the way you tried to frame them, was there any how can guiding, how can I say, like a guiding vision for how you would want to be seen, right? Or how you would want to be perceived? Yeah, how did you approach that? Because I remember you shared that again there were a lot of experiences that put you in the category of being the Asian math student, right? And that's something that you were like, hey, I can be perceived like this. I don't want to go into that category because there's too many people like this. How do I differentiate myself from fitting that category, right? So how did you approach that?
Well, this question was mainly not in the process of completing the application with all my activities,
Mm-hmm.
because to be honest, all my activities are actually maybe others that stereotype, because
Okay.
all of my activities are about mathematics, AI, fintech activities, and
Uh-huh.
others.
Okay.
But the biggest difference I made, it was actually in the essay question and in these moral questions that I answered.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
try to differentiate myself, showing off the local culture. And second, the thing is that I'm super lucky, to be
Mhm.
honest, to be born Korean in the Uzbekistan, because U.S. government and U.S. like admission officers, they have no idea uh, how we appear here in Uzbekistan, South Koreans.
Okay.
So. I had the opportunity to describe all the process of like traveling from South Korea to like back to the USSR and then going to the Central Asia, living there like a whole. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, there was uh,
Okay.
one of the stories that I told. There was a story about like my granddad who somehow dug like
Hmm.
15 kilos of like gold here
Hmm.
in Uzbekistan, and we still don't know where it is. And it was like one of my main uh comes from the past that it is like my duty in future to restore this quantity in my future.
Okay. Okay. So what you basically leveraged was the history of your family, your um, quite unique national background, identity, right? In order to kind of show that, wait, like the story itself is very unusual, right? I'm not come like even if you perceive me as Asian math student, I'm not exactly that. I'm a bit different. But then what not a bit different, but like yeah, context wise. But when you build your so wait a second. In regards to personal statement, right? You build it around the context of how your family got there, or or what did you build it around?
Yeah, I built it around actually my experience from 2018 when I
Yeah.
became the world champion mental arithmetic.
Okay.
Uh, well, my main theme there was about uh, I mean, success obsession for
Uh-huh.
a
Okay.
period of like 4 or 5 years.
Uh-huh.
This success obsession was mainly showed off by my mathematical Olympiads that I took part in a lot of. I'm like four-time national grand champion in Uzbekistan. I'm like a world grand champion. Like I have 20 medals in international Olympiads, not in the AMO, USMO, LL, but these are like also international Olympiads in math. And after that, I showed off really certainly the moment when I understand that it doesn't really matter. The
Hmm.
competition doesn't matter.
Hmm.
I showed off the moment with Zabivaka. It was 2018, Football Cup,
Hmm.
World Football Cup in Russia, in Moscow. I was in Moscow back in that time, and one of the Croatian fans, celebrating the like impossible run to the finals,
Hmm.
gave me this little toy Zabivaka. It's like well, it was a plushie,
Hmm.
and since then I remember like this interaction
Hmm.
holding it in my hands, standing on the pedestal or standing on the podium in the first place overall. So I showed off the moment where I understood that the medals that I got wasn't really the prize.
Hmm.
Uh, the prize was all the cultural emotion and connections with all the people that I was going with throughout my past,
Hmm.
and that was like the main idea that I built about.
Okay.
That success obsession is not the key. The
Hmm.
key is like the connections that you do throughout your past.
Okay. So it was more about kind of not the transformation of your personality, like you know, but more about how your thinking changed, right? Or like what you learned from that experience.
Not actually what I learned, but how actually I can compare myself right now and I can compare myself back then.
Okay.
It may be about a little bit about personality, but I also included some parts of like my cultural context, my like local context that I'm currently
Hmm.
in Uzbekistan,
Hmm.
that I showed off the difference between the cultures that I have here and that is typically local in Uzbekistan. It was like my first part, and then goes much more and the main idea.
Okay. All right. All right. So, right. So you when we let's get back to the earlier question asked about differentiating yourself from fitting into a very common category, right? So you didn't go about it by reframing your extracurriculars, but rather by telling your story in the essays with a competitive, unique leverage, right? So like showing how all of these experiences connect and who you are, right? And how you use them. Okay, so that was done through writing. Great. Then Let's get back to the question of because I think we haven't delved into it enough. Kind of making the most out of the 7 months period, right? How have you managed time, right? You said you were grasping all of the opportunities that there was, right? But again, I think you went quite strategic about that. You weren't grasping everything. You were rejecting some opportunities as well.
Yeah,
What was guiding
of
your
course.
decision making in the process? Yeah, and how have you managed time there?
Um, well, there's a great term named cost opportunity.
Yeah.
When you have a decision between two or three options
Hmm.
in which you should understand the like advantage and disadvantage of each and understand which way you should lead. Well, if I have some opportunities, I guess my best skill in like whole my life is analyzational skill. That
Hmm.
I understand like the opportunities that I have, the drawbacks that in this case scenario may happen. So
Hmm.
I always do a whole list of advantage and disadvantage of each case and try to compare them.
Hmm.
So that's mainly I perfectly understood that I have only 7 months
Hmm.
before the application deadline. And I understood if I choose one way, I cannot lean on another.
Okay.
I just don't have time for this.
Mm-hmm.
I try to take as much more opportunities to compare them, not to actually uh, try all myself in exactly one way.
Oh, it was mostly like, hey, I can do this, I can do that. I'm doing it, but then I'm like rejecting one opportunity after some time, knowing that it won't lead where I want it to lead, right? And basically, okay, great. Um, nice. In regards to extracurriculars, yeah, there's one more question. From Musa, right? He would like to know what contributed more to your successful admission, the math awards you received, right, earlier, or the projects and other activities. And Musa, it's not about like joining freshmen, right? Ruslan didn't get support from freshmen. Um, yeah, that's the clarification I wanted to add. It was about like having the month awards before starting his admissions prep on his own with his friends and then other mentors, right? And then also during those 7 months building projects and activities, right? So again, the question is, what contributed more to your successful admission? Awards that you received before that preparation or projects and activities that you built?
Well, to be honest, I don't have answer for this question. What do I mean here? I guess it's the integration between both my extracurricular activities and my honors part. Honors part are the basics. What do I mean here? The words that I got back at the time before this application process and preparing for the extracurricular activities is the basics. It was
Mhm,
like the foundation of what do I know, what
mhm,
can I do, what are my skills, what can I use in my actual life.
mhm,
And when we talk about extracurricular activities, it's just, I guess, showing off what could I do.
mhm.
How did I do it?
Okay.
I mean, both my extracurricular activities and both my honor sections were on international level.
Mhm. Okay.
So I would tell it's like the accumulation of all these parts.
Yeah, that's true. And I'd say like weighing competitions against activities is not really right way about going it because competitions won't make you, won't get you admitted. And activities too, it's like it's very complex. It depends on so many other factors and how you connect, how you tell the story. Yeah, so again, the application, the way you think about it must be holistic, right? Um, okay. So when we speak about Minerva, do they ask to build personal statement too? Or again, you kind of do a form of personal statement when you perform Minerva challenge where you need to answer the big questions about where you're going and who you are.
Well, there's a section with your personal statement
Uh-huh.
where you like just Control C, Control V your personal statement from common
Oh, okay.
application. But the other thing is that they test your actual thinking in the moment. So there's also a section in their test, in their aptitude test, to test your thinking in the moment because
Mhm.
they give you a complex theme of who you are, where do you want to be in the future. They're not typically asking about your past, as they understand your past from your personal statement.
Okay.
So they want to see your future perspective,
Okay.
and that's what they ask exactly in this part of writing.
Mhm. Okay. So, okay. All right. Now, what else? What's next? So we've already discussed what Minerva is like, right? And how they differ from other universities in their culture, right? At different levels, at the level of physical organization, right? And at the level of how they govern learning and education culture there, right? Then we also discussed Minerva's unique admissions process consisting of two portions, the biographical academic information, right, along with accomplishments and Minerva challenges, where we talked about how you can best prepare for various parts of it. For math part, where pattern recognition is very important, and for the second part, where again, your not so much English language skills are important, but how well you're able to communicate yourself, how well you know yourself, how well you strategize your life, right? And are able to build your direction long term and short term, right? And make decisions about that. Yeah, and we've also discussed how Ruslan navigated the 7 months of intense activities and building, right? Along with application building. Um, right. In the meantime, what other questions have we got? And guys, if you want, we can go into specific experiences and activities of Ruslan, right? He could share about how he approached building them. We can either discuss the way he approached research and how he published it in Q2 journal, right? Or how he found an internship for a quite interesting startup in the US. Yeah, Musa.
Hi,
Hi.
Ruslan. Hi, Natalia. Am I audible, first of
Yeah,
all?
yes, you are. We can hear
Yeah,
you
you
well.
are.
So I have question most about your passion project.
Mhm,
While deciding on your project, on the project itself, on the
mhm,
structure, did you thought about the complexity of the project, of building it? What I mean is like you had 7 months
mhm,
and thought you about the idea of making very simple project but working. I mean, not doing it very deep,
mhm.
but I mean, spending less time, but made it impactful. Or you wanted to made it very difficult for you to build, but even though impactful.
That's not the question. That's a nice question. Thank you. In the moment that I got the idea to build the passion project, it was actually not my idea. It was idea of one of my friends named Mabur. He had the project of idea to give the opportunity to peers to share their talents with each other. Like one knows basketball, other knows how to play a violin, and they share the talents between each other. I really liked that idea, and I wanted to realize it. I absolutely understood that there was not much time that I could give on it. And by the way, there's a person who actually developed it. I was like at the position of CEO, and he was at the position of lead developer who actually took all the tech part mainly, and we developed it with a whole squad of people. So we had a lot of interviews with lots of people. We were hiring people for some time. We were hiring designers, backend developer, frontend developer, who like we worked as one big group of like 6 people. Uh, And the thing is that I perfectly understood that it would be a small project, not that big and very impactful as it could be. I mean, it could have 700 students, 800 students, maybe more. Uh, but the biggest problem was not to develop it. With the development, I had a whole team who was working on this question.
Mhm.
Uh, the biggest problem was about advertising it. Back at that time, I didn't really have any networking or connections, very,
Mhm.
very big and deep, that I could share with each other to make people interested.
Mhm.
Right now, I have this networking to make like lots of people interested. I even proposed my idea in a lot of accelerators, in a lot of pitches and others. After that, I pitched this idea to integrate into the Saman AI Academy. It's like the pre-seed AI startup
Mhm.
by Rice alumnis, Chicago alumnis, Michigan alumnis. I pitched this idea to integrate them. So we are also working on this question to integrate my peer-to-peer learning ecosystem into this startup.
Mhm.
So I knew that this is a big opportunity for future to revolutionize actually the system of education that we have right now in the public schools or even
Mhm.
in the universities.
Mhm.
But I perfectly understood that I didn't really have all the budget first things first and the time to manage it.
Mhm.
So my so I preferred to make it simple. Stay it simple, make a really nice MVP that is working, and
Mhm.
to share it and to show off the people. Just
Mhm.
try to make interested as much as I can back at that time.
Okay. So basically, it had to reflect how you see and approach solving that problem, but not at the highest, like at the highest possible tier, right? But at the level where you're able to build it with enough quality, right? And enough impact. But the idea itself must be interesting, right?
Yeah, the idea
Yeah.
itself, I guess it is much bigger. It
Yeah.
is a whole ecosystem of peer-to-peer learning. So
Mhm.
to share the talents between each other with a lot of gamification,
Mhm.
leveling up. It's like it was basically an idea of second Duolingo, but without actual uh, scope of only one subject. I mean, only
Mhm.
languages or only checkmates, but it was the scope of any subject that you want.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay, Musa. Uh-huh. Go on.
So you mentioned that you had a whole IT team for your project, and you mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, that you didn't have any budget, any financial money for running this project, or you had. Oh, I mean, you were in 10th grade, yeah, when
Yeah.
you started those projects, and I think it is a bit complex to find IT developers who will work for some kind of project in Uzbekistan. How you hired the team?
Uh, well, the thing was that I didn't really have a big budget. Of course, I couldn't really hire a big real persons from the like freelance and other stuff. So what did I typically do? I tried to connect with the communities. A lot of communities throughout Uzbekistan where people want to get a nice portfolio, and I
Mhm.
actually saw them as an opportunity for them to upgrade the portfolio and just to earn some money.
Mhm.
That's how I mainly did it. I mean, they were not really a big professionals in the big enterprises. Of course, they were not. I couldn't really have this opportunity without winning the accelerator, and I didn't have time to take part in the accelerator and win it, and then to manage like all the problems with the investors and focus only on this thing as I have lots of other points in my application that I should focus on.
Mhm.
So what did I do here? I tried to find some people who are interested in this idea. I show off them a vision of the future that I want to be,
Mhm.
a vision of the future where each one can share the thought with each other.
Mhm.
And that's mainly how I did it.
Mhm. Okay. Musa, have I addressed your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So it
because
comes,
Yeah, all right.
Go on.
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm building, I want to build my own fintech AI thing, and I was wondered how you hired the whole team, and now I have approximate plan for that, like to find other people who are interested and attract them.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Have we got any other questions related to, I don't know, building ACs, right? Or strategically navigating, like a critical period of time in order to make the most out of it when it comes to admissions? Okay. Okay, I think we don't, right? And I think it's the point where we can wrap the event up if we don't have any more questions. So, right. That was the Freshman Getting in Serious, episode 6 with Ruslan Kan, where we were discussing how he got into Minerva University and how he strategically approached a short time frame in order to make the most out of it, how he made decisions about which projects to build, which not to build. And yeah, we learned quite a lot about how Minerva approaches um, um, governing their educational processes, right? I hope you learned um, valuable insights from this session, and thank you all for attending it. Especially Ruslan, thank you a lot for being the guest today and sharing your experience.
Yeah, yeah, all right. It's a big thanks to you. And can I just give like greetings for all my friends here?
Sure.
Well, I would like to share my gratefulness to all of my friends. First of all, there's my friend Muha, who was a lead developer in my passion projects,
Mhm.
who mainly took the tech side. There's also my friend Yasmina. She was a friend from like WSC Bangkok
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
We are really good friends still, and we chat a lot with each other. And there's actually my muse. What I mean here, my inspiration for all the things, Shireen.
Mhm.
Big thanks to her. She will always support me throughout my throughout my path. So big thanks to everyone here and everyone
Yeah.
who took part here.
Guys, thank you so much that you showed up to support Ruslan and that you attended our event. Happy to get to know you. And yeah, yeah, thank you, everyone.